All right, ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you back, and the panel rejoins us. Part two, as they say, commentator on religion, society, and pop culture, and author of You Don't Have to Be Wrong for Me to Be Right, Finding Faith Without Fanaticism. Brad Hirschfield, I get choked up whenever I say the name of that book. And columnist at Breitbart.com, an American thinker, and author of WTF, How Karl Rove and the Establishment Lost Again. And you know what WTF stands for. I can't say it, but, you know, look it up. Anyway, so get Edmund's book as well. And, okay, let me start with you, Edmund. Jeb Bush, I almost said George Bush, he had a few things to say, and one of the things he said, and there's all kinds of speculation, he's going to throw his hat in the ring, and he said basically that Republicans have to lose the primary to win the general. Now, literally, you can't do that. If you're Jeb Bush and you lose the primaries, you're not going to be in the general. But talk about the message there, and do you agree with it?
Yeah, this is exactly how Karl Rove and George Bush and Jeb Bush and the Mitt Romney and John McCain and the Republican establishment keeps on losing. You know, if you go back to 1980, 84, 94, 2010, what we thought in 1988 about George W. Bush, it's clear that when the Republicans are on the right or appear to be on the right, and in 88, George H.W. Bush kind of rode Ronald Reagan's coattails, that's when the Republicans win. When we do what Jeb Bush says, like 92, 96, 2008, 2012, that's when we get crushed. He could not be more wrong.
What about it, Rabbi?
Boy, we just come at this from totally different perspectives.
I love it. Go at it, baby.
And I hear what you're saying, Edmund. I think the issue, is here when conservatives do it. No. When conservatives do it without integrity, they get crushed. But I think the real danger here is that the Republican Party in the first part of the 21st century could end up being like the Democratic Party in much of the latter half of the 20th century, preferring ideological purity to actual victory. And I think whether it's in politics or pretty much any other field, what history shows us is that if you can you have to have integrity. It's not about bargaining away what you most deeply believe. Core values have to be in place. But when any group becomes overly puritanical, especially in the United States, where people want real principles and a level of openness, you can win.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Edmund.
Yeah, you really do sound like David Brooks, mimeograph. I mean, for crying out loud, we just saw supposedly puritanical Ted Cruz government shutdown destroy the party. The Wall Street Journal called him the minority maker. How did that work out in 2014? Actually, what people crave is leadership. They crave people who will take a stand, who will plant a flag. And I'm sorry, I can go through every single election since 80, midterms and presidential, and destroy your case and prove mine. Every single one.
And Rabbi, let's just go back to McCain and even Romney to a great extent.
Yes.
I mean, you know, McCain ran just the way you wanted to, and the base stayed home. And if the base stays home, you're not gonna win.
Well, actually, I don't think that's what McCain did, but that's what's interesting. I think both McCain and Romney tried to pivot in ways that weren't true to their form. Where Edmund and I absolutely agree, without the language of who's destroying who, because who is that going to really help? Where we agree is that leadership is the key. And I think you're absolutely right that we have not yet evolved leaders who know how to have real leadership, demonstrate real leadership, speak with real integrity and principle without going to extremes. But you're absolutely right. We agree 100% that people do crave leadership. They crave authentic leadership. They crave principled leadership. And they want that to be exercised in ways that ultimately will bring people together. Ironically, I think that is exactly how President Obama promised but didn't deliver, and how he rode, for whatever weird reasons, to a victory he should have had.
Let me ask both of you real quickly. Number 2 in a CNN poll is Ben Carson, believe it or not, and I say that because that's the highest he's ever been. Edmund, in about 15 seconds, realistically, what are his chances if he runs?
Now, he's going to have a buzz, but he won't win. And polls at this stage, Steve, are typical. They're meaningless. They're only name recognition. His name recognition is high right now. Mitt Romney's is high right now. It's probably going to be Ted Cruz when it's all said and done. Mark it down.
I hope you're right, but I don't know. What about it, Rabbi?
I'm not going to handicap it, though. I think, Edmund, you're right again. It's a little early to tell. What I do think is important is when people start screaming about racism being everywhere in this country, look at that poll. And that's one of the places where people who may not agree with anything Ben Carson says, but they may want to take stock of what they think about this country.
But you watch. It'll take the media 4 minutes to come up with, I don't know that there is any, but they're already trying to get dirt on him and criticize him, and you'll have the left come out and say he's not really black. Guys, thank you. We're coming back with more. Don't go away.